Salahuddin. So could you expand more on how Salahuddin defeated people around and then went for Palestine?
So the problem he had, or the challenge he had, was you had rulers around some of the towns, Palestine. And unfortunately, they were petty rulers. They used to just fight other rulers. It was a lot in those days, or most of history. A lot of it was about power, control. But what he found, though, is most of the Muslims in the region were really unhappy with the fact that Al-Quds had been lost, and they just lost hope we're going to get it back. When they look at their ruler, the rulers were useless. Rulers were too busy fighting each other, so they lost a lot of hope. And then the era at that time, what you found was even the Khilafah, they're decentralized. What you found was all the different areas had rulers. Those rulers seemed to be more powerful than the Khalif himself. So a lot of people just lost hope, right? However, in every era, you still have a good thing. You're Muslim, you believe in the deen, you do something about it. So even before Salahuddin, in fact, the whole process of taking back Al-Quds started. He was a ruler, he was a wali in Mosul, Iraq, right? And what he did was he took over some of the other areas because the people were unhappy with their ruler, unhappy that their ruler was collaborating with the Crusaders. So effectively what they did was they united all the area around Palestine, and then Salahuddin Ayyubi, when he was the lead, he was the wali of Egypt because the previous leader passed away. So then when he launched a war, he had united with the Muslims. So when the Crusaders tried to reach out to some of the Muslim leaders, they couldn't get them on their side. So they got no food from them. There was no trade going on. So he completely isolated them. So remember what happened. The reason why they got a foothold was because the rulers in the region collaborated and started trading with them, which is exactly what happened with Israel. The Jordanian leaders, the Iraqi leaders, they were long collaborating with influential Jews before Israel was created. The monarchy that was in Egypt, he didn't care what happened in Palestine. He cared more about, I'm the king of Egypt, that's it. That's what allowed Israel to come about. And that's exactly what happened then. So by uniting them, now he could bring all the resources together to launch an assault on Palestine itself. But even when he launched the assault, he actually offered to the Christians, that you leave, you take your belongings with you, and you're free to go to any other area. So some of them did leave, and then they launched the assault on it. So really he won by not defeating them on the battlefield, which he did in the end. He won by making sure, let's change the political dynamics in the region so it's to our advantage. So unfortunately you see today, if you look at when things were going on in Syria, who was organising the switch to Syria? The summits were held in Kazakhstan, they were held in Geneva, and you've got America there, you've got Britain there, you've got France there. Where were the people of Syria? Where were the Muslims in the region? The Muslim leaders that went, they didn't go because you're at the table. They were like, oh, we've had the meeting, now we're going to tell you what we're going to do. That's the sort of leaders we've actually got, and that's exactly what was going on at the time. So what Salahuddin realised, and what some of the leaders before him realised, is the situation we've got is of our own doing. Because we were weak and we were disunited and our rulers didn't have the Islamic vision, he realised I need to change. In fact, Salahuddin, you'll be killed more Muslim than non-Muslims. Because the Muslims were causing disunity, unfortunately, at the time. And it's the same scenario today. If you look at our leaders, they're the problem. Our leaders are the problem. So, if you're, I prayed Maghrib, If we prayed in Jama'at and I say, look, I want to pray 4 rakat Maghrib, we'll have a bit of a debate. You'd be like, what ward are you? And it's 3 rakat. At some point, if I refuse to change, you're going to have to remove me army. You have to get another imam. Because it's 3 rakat, isn't it? You can't be praying 4 for Maghrib, That's exactly what we do. Our leaders, their views and their sentiments are not in line with our views and sentiments. In fact, we're over here, they're over there. So in that scenario, you've got to remove them. Right? And then you can use the resources. In fact, at that point, even Israel knows that its days are numbered. That's why we live in an era where the resistance to Israel is Hezbollah, Hamas, resistance groups. But for the first 3 decades, the resistance was from countries, from Egypt, it was from Jordan, it was from Syria. And that was a bigger problem for Israel because these countries are bigger, they can bring more resources. But over time, with American help, through collaboration, they were able to deal with the states. In fact, when Egypt signed the peace deal with Israel in 1979, the whole south of Israel, now you have a safe country. So what Israel realized, we don't need to have an army in the south of Israel because we've got Egypt who now has normalized relations with us. And Egypt was the most powerful country in the region. So if the most powerful country in the region normalized with you, now you've survived. So these groups are a problem for Israel. But they're a problem because they fire rockets. They're a problem because our people get scared because it's not safe and secure. They're not a problem where they're going to remove Israel off the map. I know Israel makes it out to be like that because that's for propaganda purposes. So the thing here is Israel, these groups can't make that change. What you need is the nation in the region. Because those nations collaborate, that's the problem. So we need to name and shame them for that. And look, a year's gone by. The Iranian leadership and the Turkish leadership, they have always said we support Palestine. In the past, they've spoken for Palestine. So where are you when they physically need you? What that shows you, yeah, is the support for Palestine was supposed to go beyond words. So they're looking at, it was good for my political career to be pro-Palestine because they're almost pro-Palestine. So I'm going to be pro-Palestine. When they come to deliver, don't expect anything from me. So that's why when Ismail Haniyeh went to Tehran, they said to him, because you didn't inform us, you're getting help from us. Yeah, and now they're being bombed by Israel. So think about it, if they're supporting the people of Gaza at that time, if Hezbollah had opened up a front, they won't be seeing this scenario today. But unfortunately, like our rulers at the time of Salahuddin, they were thinking about themselves only. You know, there was a scenario then where a ruler would get together with the Crusades to invade another ruler. So they would collaborate with them to invade that area. Then the Crusaders would go to war with them if they want to take over their area as well. That was what was going on then. How's that to today? So it is shocking, the similarity, but it shows you, brothers, that Israel is just a 21st century version of the Crusader state from those days. The same objective then. We want to get a foothold. Europeans will support an entity there and then go and spread. That's exactly what the West are doing. Yeah? And remember, the West isn't exactly in a strong position today. If you look at America, there's likely going to be a civil war after November, depending on how the election turns out. Confidence in democracy is rock bottom. Confidence in, the West being good economically is rock bottom. In fact, the people aren't even optimistic about the future of Western civilization. So in that context, when they say we have to defend Israel, a lot of people, in this country they used to say, why do we give so much foreign aid? This was the argument, isn't it? That why are we giving foreign aid? We need to help the NHS and all that stuff there. But how come we have no problem with foreign aid going to Israel? So there's a lot of lessons actually. In fact, it's worth looking at what Salahuddin did. Looking at that, it's actually the similarities are actually really surprising.